Hey Savannah, how are you today?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm good. Well, just all right.
Um, Honestly, I just had a really rough week. This past week, it's just kind of been a culmination of things, and there just hasn't really been one area of my life that I've really felt confident in recently. Like I kind of messed up at work the other day on Mother's Day, and that just made me feel really bad. And then I had a big paper due for a class due that same night, and I didn't submit it on time. And I don't know, professor never responded to my email from Monday morning, so I don't even know if it was even worth it to turn it in late. So I might have to retake the class either way. So I just was kind of, feeling like a failure the past few days, and I have a trip coming up with my family. We're going to the beach, but while we're gone, my mom is getting surgery and she's getting a kidney transplant. So I'm just going to be worried about her half the time because I won't be there for it. And it's just kind of been it's just kind of been a lot. And then the guy that I'm talking to um was not really the most supportive towards the beginning of the week. So it just kind of made me feel even worse about myself. So yeah, I just kind of feel like I can't really do anything right now.
Okay. That's a lot. It does sound like you had a pretty rough week. We'll start from the beginning. So you said you messed up at work. Um, Really just with everything. I would say sometimes we have to give ourselves grace. We need to always remind ourselves that we're not perfect and everything is not always going to be just right? I
Mhm.
will say I do understand what you mean when you say you feel like you just have no balance in your life pretty much. Like there's not an area in your life where there's not like some type of confusion or really just peace in any
Mhm.
area of your life. So I definitely understand that. I was gonna say that it's good that you have a vacation coming up, but it kind of contradicts itself when you have a situation going on at home with your mom, and that's a big thing. Our
Mhm.
parents are usually at the center of our lives, so I can understand how you would be worried about her. Um, as far as your partner, you said he wasn't really supportive of everything that you have going on. Um, what does that support look like to you? Like what did you expect from him that he did not do?
Um it was more so just his reactions to a couple things that I said. Like I told like he knew about my paper obviously, and I told him about messing up at work, and then the next day I mentioned how I was like running late to work, and he just made a comment over text and was like, they cannot be happy with you right now. And I was like, ouch, like I did not need that. And then when I told him that I finally submitted my paper late, and I was like, "Well, see, like if she takes it," he was like, "She probably won't. Like it's really late." And so it's just kind of like negative comments like that he's made, and I was already feeling down about myself. And instead of him even just being not even just positive, but even just being neutral, like he went the negative route with it, which I really didn't appreciate because I was like, you could just not really say anything. Like, instead of saying that, like, that's just not constructive at all. Um, so it just kind of made me feel even worse, especially because he's someone whose opinion I value, obviously. And when I told my mom about the paper as well, she was like, she was just kind of like, why? Like, why didn't you turn it in on time? Like, that's going to cost you a lot of money and blah, 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 you know? So it was like, I'm already feeling bad. And then they're making me feel worse about it when it's too late. There's nothing I can do about it now, you know?
Okay, I could definitely understand where the frustration is with that because a lot of times when we're going through things, or even if it's not something big, whatever it is that we're going through, and we're talking to our people, like the people that you go to when you're feeling down or have something going on, you expect them to be supportive of you and to, speak life into you and to lift you up. And it kind of seems like instead of doing that, they kind of just made the situation worse or made you feel worse about the situation.
Hmm.
Um, I will say sometimes it's best to take the things that people say with a grain of salt.
Hmm.
Everybody's not gonna be supportive all the time, and as bad as that is, and I know that sucks, but sometimes that's just the reality of it. Sometimes you just cannot expect people to give you grace or say the right things to you when it comes down to it. And with that being said, I think that it's also important for us to pour into ourselves and to look for that same support, that same peace from ourselves instead of looking for it from the people around us or from other things outside of yourself. Because a
Hmm.
lot of times when you're feeling down and somebody's like not supportive of what you have going on or not making you feel better about the situation, it ends up making you feel worse.
Hmm.
So I do think it is best sometimes that we just give ourselves grace instead of expecting it from other people. I feel like it lessens the blow a little bit. Now, as far as the schooling thing, as far as the paper, what exactly happened? Like, what was the reason that you did not submit the paper on time?
Um, Part of it was just that I kept putting it off and like procrastinating it. And I kind of underestimated how long that I would actually need to get it done because I've crammed papers at the last minute before. But this one was just not like that, just wasn't possible with the time that I like left for myself. But I also just kind of didn't really feel like I could do it. Like it felt very intimidating, and my brain kind of just kept telling me like that I couldn't do it. And so that would make me put it off even more because I thought that I wouldn't be able to do it and I didn't know how to start.
Okay, that makes sense. I can understand how you get an assignment sometimes in school and you look at it and you're like, oh my God, I'm supposed to complete this? Like, am I even
Mhm.
capable of doing this? So I can definitely
Mhm.
understand that. And I also know how it is to procrastinate. But to me, it sounds like you procrastinated because you didn't think you could do it.
Mhm.
Not necessarily you procrastinated and you wasted time and you just didn't do it. It seems to me like you didn't feel like you were capable of doing the paper, so you kept putting it off.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I could do it.
Well, I will say, even though you might have turned it in late, you still did it. So let's give
Mhm.
ourselves some grace there too, as well. Um, Sometimes you have to take a situation for what it is and just try to be optimistic about it moving forward. I would probably stay in consistent communication with my professor to let her know, what it was. Like I do understand that, with certain classes you have an expectation for you to complete your work. But at the same time, it's a little different when you don't feel capable of doing the work. Like that's a lot and that's a hard thing to do, especially
Mhm.
when you're going through other things at the same time because life is not going to stop because you have that paper due. So I
Right.
understand that. And then you said you messed up with work. What happened?
Mhm. So it was on Mother's Day, which, is obviously a busy restaurant holiday, and I work as a server. And I had a table of 5 people. And I mean, I had other tables too, but with this specific table, I forgot to bring in their food after their appetizers. And it took me quite a while to realize that. And by that time, my manager was already involved because I think he just happened to like go by there or something or check on them. And so they ended up waiting and for their food, but at that point my manager was already covering their meals, so they knew that, they weren't going to have to pay for them. And they weren't angry or anything, but one of the ladies, when they finally got their food, just kind of like not pulled me to the side, but she was like, "Hey," like she was like, "Look, like we know that it was you that messed up." She was like, "And it's okay. We're all human. Like we all make mistakes." But she was like, "You avoided us, like after the fact. Like you didn't come and like explain yourself to us. Like we only like really only my manager kind of checked on them like in that between time until they got their food, and then I kept taking care of them." Um, and like I took that and I apologized to her, but even and they got a free dessert as well, and they still had to pay for like their appetizers and a couple drinks that they had. But even after all of that and like her saying that, they still didn't tip me anything, and their original bill was a pretty big amount, and we tip out on our sales. So it was just kind of frustrating that, even though she acknowledged that, like anybody could have made that mistake, that I still like paid the consequences for it, if that makes sense. And it was another one of those situations where like I already felt really bad, especially because, like obviously I didn't do that on purpose. And that's not something that happens often for me. So I hadn't done like made a mistake like that in a long time. And with it being on a stressful holiday already, it like made it even worse. And so then it kind of like it just kind of stung a little more that, they didn't even like leave me anything, which she was not the one that paid the rest of the bill, but it still didn't make it any better for me.
Okay. I can understand that. It's almost like you told me you understood, but and like you told me you understood, you held me accountable, but it's almost like you still, even though the situation was rectified, it's almost as
Mhm.
if I'm still being punished for it.
Right.
I can understand the frustration behind that, especially because, as a server, that's how you pay your bills. That's how you make your money. So it's like, yeah, I messed up. I own up to that. I'm accountable for that. But like now I've spent a lot of time with this table and I didn't get anything for it. Like I still had to work this table, but I got nothing for it.
Mhm. I
Yeah,
think that's the thing with servers too sometimes is that, like at other jobs when you mess up, you still get paid. You still make money, but like with servers, if the people aren't happy or something goes wrong, even sometimes out of your control, sometimes you pay for it. Literally.
yeah.
Maybe not
I can
physically pay
understand.
for it, but like you lose money because of it. So you kind of pay for it out of other tables' tips, essentially.
Understandable. So with that mistake that you made, um, I think it's important to remember that we are all human. Like she told you, we are all human. It's gonna be some
Mhm.
days where you're gonna mess up. Everybody messes up. Everybody makes mistakes. So you know, it's good that you were accountable for it, but also have some understanding for yourself as well. Because I'm pretty sure with it being Mother's Day, it's a holiday, it's packed in there. I know it is. Like I'm sure. So it was a lot going on at one time. And then on top of that, you're probably stressing because when you get out tonight, you have an assignment to do. You have
Mhm.
something you have to do. So your mind is in 1,000 different places right now.
Mhm.
And while they didn't know that, I get it. Like I understand that that's kind of hard. So,
Mhm.
um,
And I kind of went like into the paper that night like already kind of in a negative mood, and already feeling a little bit down about myself, and then I'm facing this like really daunting task, like this really big paper, and I'm on a time crunch already. And so it just kind of made it even harder to like try because it felt even more like I couldn't do it like in that moment after work.
that's understandable. It's almost like I failed today already, and is now I'm faced with this extremely difficult paper that takes a lot out of me, And I was already feeling like I couldn't do it before. And now that I'm sitting down trying to do it, now I'm really doubting myself.
Mhm.
I can see that. So I would say moving forward, how do you plan to do tasks that are difficult from this point forward when it comes to school?
Um, hmm. Honestly, I don't know. Sometimes, I mean, I hope that, I will plan them out more and a lot more time, to do them earlier and start them earlier so that I can break it down into, different sessions of working on it. I'm just the kind of person that when I start something, I like to finish it. So things that I can't do in one sitting, I don't like, because unless if I like complete it, I don't feel like I like did anything. Like I don't feel productive. So that's why super long tasks are like hard for me because I can't do them all at once, and like I physically can't because I get burnt out after like 2 hours, of working on it. So, um, I guess I probably would just need to manage my time more and kind of, force myself to work on it earlier. It's just kind of hard to sometimes because I don't always know if I'll be able to like make myself do it because, I let life get in the way and then, like I want to hang out with my friends instead, or, I want to hang out with this guy or, whatever. And I'm like, oh, well, I still have 2 weeks. Like it's fine. And then 2 weeks turns into 2 days.
Oh yeah, I can definitely see that. So my suggestion would be, it sounds like we're kind of struggling with time management a little bit and prioritizing.
Hmm.
Okay, so this is something I want you to try. Instead of looking at it as something like a task that you have to do, I would how often do you get your schedules in advance? Like, do you know what your schedule looks like early enough to plan things?
With work,
Mhm.
I get it like a week in advance, like a week at a time. So it's not
Okay.
bad. Like that's what I'm used to. And it's usually kind
Okay,
of
so
similar.
my suggestion would be when you get your work schedule, you look at the free time that you have. And with
Mhm.
that time, block off time to do the task that's the most difficult. Like say for example, if you have another really big paper coming up and you
Mhm.
know it may not be due for 2 weeks. My suggestion would be to block that time off and also get something that you like. Like if you know at night you like to watch TV, or
Mhm.
if you me personally, I'm a snack person. I love a snack. So what I would do, I would say, okay, today I'm gonna work on this paper for an hour and 30 minutes. And when I finish, I'm gonna have a snack. Or I'm gonna do something that I really like to do. Or I'm gonna go get some food or go grab a drink, or I'm gonna do something that feels rewarding to me so I don't feel like I'm just working and there's nothing at the end of it. I feel like that
Mhm.
may help with you feeling less productive as well. Because at
Mhm.
that point, now you have something to look forward to each day that you finish a part of the paper that you're supposed to do. Do you think that's something that could work?
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. I think it just is gonna take more discipline, and I think that I was very unmotivated with this class in general, and so it didn't help because I think it felt very, like, disconnected from it, but I think I have definitely learned my lesson, especially because this is, like, this program is costing me a lot of money. So I definitely think that that's something that I'll try moving forward.
Okay. And I think you'll appreciate it a little differently because you
Mhm.
know it's something that's costly to you. So I don't see you making this mistake again because if you have to take this class over, you have to pay for that. So I think moving forward, that'll kind of be your reminder, like, no, I don't want to go through that again.
Yeah, no, not
Okay,
again.
understandable. Um, are there any other issues or anything that you feel like you're struggling with?
um, I think just kind of with like my personal relationships sometimes in general, but like especially like romantic ones, like with, the guy that I'm talking to. It's been it's been a roller coaster, and we both kind of have a lot going on, and, like have a lot of trust issues. Um, I will say that we had a little heart to heart last night on the phone. But but it was prompted by him saying something like negative, like um he like was mad and like called me out that I had been like dry all week. And I was like, yeah, like I have. Like I called him cuz he was like, if you don't want to text me anymore, like it's fine. Just let me know. And it was just like out of nowhere, like unprompted. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like said shit like that before. So I just like called him, and he was already upset about something else. And so then he decided to be upset about me as well. And it just like bothers me when he says stuff like that, because it makes it seem like he just doesn't care. And like we've both made it clear to each other like that we care. And I made it clear to him like that I told him that I wasn't doing well mentally. And it was like that just didn't like fully get through to him, like he still was seeing it, like taking it personally. And I acknowledged it. I was like, yeah, like I have been dry, and like, I'm sorry, but I told you like I had a lot going on. I was really really stressed, and all I've been doing outside of work and school is sleeping. Like my body just kind of like shut down this week, and I was just literally so tired, which made it even harder to do the things that I needed to do, you know? And I mean, and I told him too, I was like, I don't feel, I didn't really feel safe like talking to you this week because of how you reacted, and you made me feel worse about myself. And I like, he asked for a specific like instance. And so I told him of something that he said, and he did apologize and everything, but he still was like in a bad mood about other stuff. And he like said that he was probably going to be like a little, like he was still going to text me, but he would probably be a little distant for a couple days, just because like when he gets in that mood, it's kind of like how you were saying, when he gets in a mood where he's already feeling bad about himself, he doesn't want any factors around him that could make him feel worse. So he'll just like isolate himself.
Okay. So to me, it kind of sounds like you caught the backlash of something he was already feeling. Like he probably was
Mhm.
already feeling away with you because you were being dry with him and all of these things, but something initially happened that set him off, and in that moment he's like, okay, I'm gonna go off on her today.
Mhm.
Um,
Because he
I do
said
think
he had like waited a few days to like see, and that I had been dry like for a few days and hadn't really like texted him that much or like called him. And I was like, you're right, but dude, like I was sleeping. Like I was going through
I,
it.
I also feel like he wasn't very receptive to how you were feeling. Like if I
Mm.
tell my person that I'm not doing well mentally, I feel like you should be concerned. You should be asking me, well, what's going on? How can I help? It seems like he just wasn't very supportive of you in that moment. Um, I will say it is good that you did have a conversation with him. I think it's good that you put everything out there so he knows how you feel about everything. And
Mhm.
also, I do see how it could kind of still be nerve wracking because I just told you how I felt, and now you're telling me, okay, well, I'm going to be distant for a couple of days. Not
Mhm.
thinking like, I just told you how I felt. And like, I'm naked right now, pretty much. Like, not literally, but like, I'm putting my feelings out there for you to
Mhm.
know how I feel. And it's kind of like you still shut me out. Like, what was the purpose of me telling you how I felt if you're still going to shut me out?
Mhm.
So yeah,
Especially
I would
because
be
he gets mad at me shutting him out, but then it's like he does it as a response, like it just doesn't, it's like counterproductive. And I think it's both of us just trying to like protect ourselves, but at a certain point you're both just like in your shell.
right. It seems to just not help the situation at all because, you know, instead of us pulling apart when we're going through things, we should be coming together. We should be
Mhm.
working through each other's mess together.
Mhm.
So yeah, I can see that. So, um, where do you think things are going now between you guys?
Hmm. I don't really know. Honestly, it's another one of those things that are situations where sometimes I feel like I just can't do anything right. Like I feel like I never get it right. And especially like considering the fact that I've never been in like a serious relationship, sometimes I wonder like if I ever will or like what I'm doing wrong. And like honestly, sometimes whenever I think about it and I think about that like maybe I won't ever find someone that like, wants to commit or is like willing to do all the work. Like sometimes it just makes me want to like give up and be by myself. And I'm not really like proud to admit this, but sometimes when I am like in a really low place, especially this week, just with not even that, but just work, school, being stressed about my mom, like with everything, I kind of just sometimes I just kind of wish that I like wasn't here or didn't have to like deal with any of it, Like if I can't do any of it right or be who people want me to be, then like why even try, you know?
Okay. Um, you said a lot in that little bit that you said. You said a lot, and I get it. I understand. Um, first, I want to say I get that in relationships things happen, and a lot of times you're gonna feel like it's you, but you also have to remember there's another person involved, and a
Mhm.
lot of times we are reactive as humans. I'm doing this because you made me feel this way. I said
Mhm.
this because this is how you made me feel, or I said this because you said that. So I think
Mhm.
it's important to remember that relationships take two people. It's not just you in a relationship. There's always somebody else involved. And as much as it sucks, sometimes the people that we like and the people that we love are not for us.
Mhm.
And I think that when it comes to relationships, when you find your person, it's not going to be as difficult as it seems. And I do truly believe that there is somebody out here for everybody.
Mhm.
There's going to be a man that comes and loves you like you've never been loved before. Everything about you, the good, the bad, the ugly, the things you hate about yourself, he's going to love them. Things that you're stressed about, he can immediately take that stress off of you. So I wouldn't give up because like I said, I do think that it's somebody out there for everybody, but I also think that when you say you can't do anything right and you can't be who people want you to be, it's not about who they want you to be. It's about who you want to be.
Mhm.
Also, I get feeling pretty low, and when you're down, it's like life just kicks us even more. It's like that one
Mhm.
it's like a domino effect. That one thing goes wrong, and then everything else follows. So I understand that. And I understand the frustration about feeling like you just can't do anything right. You can't get it right. Like you can't get life right. But I will say that there will never be a time where life won't be worth living. I will say that. Even though it may not feel like it, it will always be okay. Because what else can it be other than okay? It might feel a little bad right now. It may even feel
Mhm.
like you're at the end. You don't know another way. You don't see a way out of your situation. But it will always be okay because there is literally nothing else for it to be other than okay.
Mhm.
I will say it's important to find a way to manage your stress. You can't let the stress consume you. You can't let yourself sit in those feelings because when you sit in those feelings, that makes you feel worse. You have to find a way to work through those feelings. Now, I do want to go back to what you said about like not wanting to be here anymore. Is that like a
Mhm.
strong like is this something that you feel often?
Um, Not super often, but I think it's been very strong lately, and it's gotten a lot stronger than it used to be because I'm just kind of reaching a point where I just don't really know when it's going to get better or if it's going to get better.
So basically it's like you don't see a way out sometimes. Like you don't see how it could possibly get better when it's bad.
Mhm.
Okay. So I do want to ask you, I'm about to get a little deep, so you let me know if you need me to stop or if you're not comfortable with where the conversation is going. But I'm asking these questions because I want to ensure that you're safe always for
Mhm.
yourself and for others. When you say that you don't want to be here, like, do you have a plan to do something to yourself or to hurt yourself?
Um, I don't have like a set plan, but I have just thought about like just taking a bunch of pills and, hoping that I don't wake up.
Okay. The pills that you say like you think about taking, are they like easily accessible to you?
Um, well, my mom has a bunch of medications like for her like health stuff, so I've thought that I could easily just go in there like when she's at work or something or not here and just take a bunch of them.
Okay. So, first, I want to start out by saying if you ever feel like you need support or you're scared in a moment and you just aren't really sure what you will or won't do,
Mhm.
you can always call 988. It's a suicide prevention line. It's like a crisis line. Like anytime you're in a crisis, like in the moment, like right dead in the moment, you can always call 988 and they will always be there to assist you. Now, if you don't feel comfortable with that, you could always reach out to me. Now, I'm not going to say that I will always be readily available, but if I am, I will be there for you.
Mhm.
I also wanted to know, do you have like a support person? Do you have somebody that you feel like you can talk to when things are going bad?
Um, I do have like my best friend Grace, but she also was just really busy this past week, so I didn't really get to like talk to her much. And then, she has a lot of stress and a lot going on too, so I don't really want to add to her plate too much, and it's not really anything that, she can fix.
So if you feel like you're in a crisis situation and you're thinking about doing it, doing the do you
Mhm.
feel like if you told her she would like be there? Do you think that she would like immediately try to come to your aid to like help you?
Yes, but she does live 2 hours away. So,
Okay. Do you think that even though she lives 2 hours away, do you think that she may have someone else that she can reach out to that's a little bit closer to you that can see about you until she gets there?
yes. I think that yes, she would definitely try.
Okay, so I do think it's appropriate for us to have a plan in place just in case things get to be a little bit too much for you. I would
Mhm.
definitely say first, let's try to calm ourselves down. Let's breathe, work on our breathing, just try to stay calm and try to think positively. If we need to cry, cry it out. If you need to call and talk to somebody, call your support person. And if
Mhm.
things get to be too much and that's not helping, let her know how you're feeling and that, trying to calm yourself down is not working, that you need her right there in that moment.
Mhm.
Are you comfortable with that plan?
Yeah, I think that that's something that I could try or that I could do.
Also to know, are you involved like in your community? Like it could be like church or just a community based thing or like peers. Is there anybody that you feel that you can relate to and kind of like just talk to about everyday life things, different stressors, or maybe like even like a hobby or something you like to do? There's people that like to do the same things.
Um, Not really like a set one. I would say like some of my coworkers honestly because we're kind of a smaller like workforce and a lot of them are like close in age to me, so I do talk to some of them like about a lot of life stuff sometimes, like about my mom and about Isaac, the guy that I'm talking to. So yeah, I kind of do consider them a community, even though it is at work.
I ask that because I think a lot of times peer support groups are good. And I'm not saying a peer support group for trauma or a peer support group for a specific thing, but like if there's any area of your life where you have others that you can relate to, I think it's good to bond with them so that you feel like you have someone that can relate to you and that can understand you and understand where you are. I think that's helpful, just to have in your life in general when you're going through
Mhm.
things, just to have somebody to relate to. Even if you're not going through anything, it's always good to hang around like-minded people, somebody that you feel that you have things in common with, so you feel understood by those around you. I also
Mhm.
think that might help, just maintain stress. And then also, I would also suggest, if there's others that you go to school with, like people that are in the same program as you, I encourage you to like reach out and try to get to know them, because I'm sure if that was a difficult assignment, I'm sure a lot of other people struggle with it too and could relate to like how you were feeling, especially feeling like you couldn't do it. Because to
Mhm.
me, it sounds like a pretty challenging assignment. Like it sounds like something that could possibly make or break your grade. And I
Yeah.
know for a fact that you were not the only one stressed about that paper. So I think it could have been helpful to have somebody or have other people that can relate to what you're feeling. Because I'm pretty sure if you had reached out to them instead of a person that's not in the program and don't understand exactly what's required of you, and if you reached out to them and you told them what was going on, you would have gotten a totally different response.
Mhm.
And I do think they probably would have lifted you up more instead of making you feel worse about the situation. They might have even given you the drive that you needed to get the work done because you knew that it was somebody else out there that was feeling the same exact way that you did.
Yeah, I think I just have a hard time like reaching out to people sometimes or like admitting when I'm struggling because I kind of just try to do everything on my own and
Yeah, it
people
sounds like
always
you're prideful to me. Very prideful.
Yeah, you could definitely
That's
say that.
understandable. I get that. Nobody wants to fail. Nobody wants to feel like they're failing or feeling like they're not doing well at something. But even if you're not reaching out, so to speak, like personally, there may be like social media groups and things like that that you can join. And like I know
Mhm.
a lot of groups they have where you can post anonymously. You don't even have to reveal your identity to them or to anybody when you post, and you could just say however you're feeling. And I'm
Mhm.
sure it will still be people there to support you and let you know, like, hey, I'm feeling the same way, girl.
Mhm.
So, do you think that's something you might be interested in? Like trying to find different support groups and people that could possibly, relate to life situations and schooling and relationships and things like that?
Yeah, I definitely think that it would help to find people that are on more similar life paths than me, or as me, than some of the people that I'm around, because I don't really have anyone around me that's in school anymore, like since I started this new program. So it kind of
Okay.
just feels like I'm by myself.
Okay. So these this is something there's some things that I want you to do before our next session.
Okay.
Well, first thing, like I said, in the beginning, working on our time management and procrastination. So when you get your next assignment, if it's a large assignment, we're gonna take some time each day and plan to work on it for, because I know you said like after 2 hours you get burned out. So I don't even want you to get close to being burned out. So work on it,
Hmm.
even if it's just an hour each day. Work on your assignment and then reward yourself at the end, whether it's going to get a snack, going to get a drink, going out for ice cream, or binge watching your favorite show till it's time for bed. Reward yourself after you
Okay.
complete your assignment so you don't feel like it was a task that you had to check off. Look at it as a reward for doing something good, something that you were required to do, but it was good because you completed it before you were supposed to.
Okay.
So that will be the first thing that I want you to do. The second thing that I would want you to do is when you wake up every day and you feel yourself get to a point feeling like you can't do it, speak life into yourself. Speak
Hmm.
life into yourself. Tell yourself that you can. Because
Hmm.
it may sound silly at first, but believe it or not, affirmations and like believing in yourself makes a big difference in your
Hmm.
life. So constantly remind yourself that you can do it. If you couldn't do it, you wouldn't be in a space where you had to do it. I also want you to work on giving yourself some grace. Like when you mess up, tell yourself everybody messes up.
Hmm.
Don't dwell on it, don't sit in it. Just ask yourself how you can fix it. And if it's something that can't be fixed, we move on.
Okay.
Next thing I would like for you to do, um, I want you to find a support group. A support group of your choice. It doesn't have to be for anything in anything specifically. So if
Hmm.
it's like a support group for school or just some people that y'all have the same hobby or something like that, find a support group that you think you may do well with and try to like socialize with them. You don't have to reach out personally. Like if you choose like to do like a Facebook group, for example, find a Facebook group, join the group, make a post. And it doesn't have to be anything lengthy, anything wordy. You don't have to go in there posting your whole life story. It could just be
Hmm.
a simple, hi, I'm Savannah. This is what I like to do, or this is why I'm here.
Hmm.
I'm just looking for like minded individuals that I can relate to.
Okay.
And I want to see if that kind of helps you feel more supported. I want to see, because honestly, it's a million people going through the same things. So
Hmm.
I know for a fact that you will find that support somewhere. Like it will be somebody in that group that can relate to you. So, and I also think that it'll feel you better, make you feel better, and make you feel more supported by, other people that are going through similar things. Do you feel like that's doable?
Yeah, I think that it'll take, I think that it'll take some work and, dedication, and I'll probably definitely need, some reminding and encouragement, to follow through on some of those things, but um I think that I could definitely try.
Okay. And as your counselor, I am here to support you and I am here to do whatever it is you need me to do to get you through it. So if you would like for me to remind you or send you, I can send you encouraging words every morning or something like that. Like I don't mind taking time out my day to make sure that you feel supported. So if I need to send you a text in the morning and say, hey, Savannah, hope you have a good day today. Let's remember to do this. Or if you just need me to say, hey, Savannah, I hope you're having a good day. If you're going through anything, just remember what I told you. If you need to talk, please call me. That kind of thing. Do you think that will kind of help you get a little bit more motivated?
Yeah, I think that would be really helpful.
Okay, I definitely will do that. I don't mind doing that. I gave you homework, now I have homework. So I don't mind doing that. And then also, this is not necessarily something I want you to complete, but I do want your word that if things get a little heavy and you start to feel down and you're starting to feel like you don't want to be here anymore, I want you to reach out to your support person.
Okay,
Is
I
that
will.
doable?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to go ahead and wrap up today's session. First off, I want to thank you for being so open and so honest with me. I'm glad that you trust me enough to, allow me to see that side of you. I'm glad you are allowing me to see you vulnerable. I really appreciate that. I also want to say it was brave of you to even admit some of the things that you did. I do also want to say that you're very accountable, and that's admirable because a lot of people are not as accountable as I would wish that they were. So I do think you should keep up the good work with that. And I do think that you should stop being so hard on yourself. Give yourself some
Mhm.
grace with situations. Nobody's perfect. It's okay to mess up. Um, and I just want you to continue to just try to be the best version of yourself that you can be, regardless of what people think, what they say, the lack of support you may have. Continue to push through it.
Mhm.
Do you have any questions or anything for me? Anything else that you think you may want to talk about?
Um, I do have one thing that I wanted to ask you.
Mhm.
Um, Earlier when we were talking about the guy that I'm talking to, Isaac, and in your in your opinion, because I do feel like we're, in a better place now and that things are, headed in a positive direction, but how do you think, like, what's the best way to like handle these little setbacks, or like how do you know when to stop trying? Like sometimes I just don't know if he'll ever like fully let me in all the way. And it hasn't been like that long, but I just don't know if like we should be in a better place by now, if that makes sense, or if he should trust me more than he does by now.
Okay. So one thing I will always encourage you to do is tell him how you feel. Don't
Mhm.
allow those feelings to eat you alive because I'm a firm believer in the saying that you either say something and you mess it up or you say nothing and let it mess you up. So
Mm.
I think that it's important to always express yourself and keep communication open. And I will also encourage you when you're feeling like he did something wrong, tell him in that moment. Don't be dry with him. Don't give him a hard time. Just in that moment, just tell him straight up, "Hey, you said this or you did this, and I didn't like the way that made me feel. I don't like it because." Explain to him how you feel, and you leave the communication open because at that point, he doesn't need an example of what he did to offend you or to hurt your feelings. You told him
Mhm.
right then, and he can either take accountability for that and apologize for it or not. But if he does not, if it gets to a point where you feel like your feelings are not being respected or you're not being respected as a whole, it's
Mhm.
time to ask yourself, what are the pros and the cons of me being in this situation? How does this help me? Is it helping me or is it hindering me? Does the good outweigh the bad or does the bad outweigh the good? And I think that
Mhm.
once you start analyzing the situation for what it is, you'll come up with your answer on whether you need to leave or whether you need to stay.
Okay.
Are you comfortable with that answer? Do you feel like that kind of answered your question?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I am still kind of learning to communicate my feelings and more so when to communicate them, because a lot of times I do it after the fact. But I think that until recently, I didn't really realize that he cared that much because I always just kind of assumed that people don't care. So, I kind of just naturally keep things to myself. But I think that you're right that I need to be more forthcoming with my feelings and not let them like sit for a while and let it, just instead of withdrawing, because, he does call me out for, like when I withdraw or kind of shut him out.
Okay. So again, I do think I know it's kind of difficult to be open sometimes, to just be so vulnerable and tell people how we
Mhm.
feel, but sometimes I think it hurts more. It hurts the situation more when we're not open and we wait to say something. We wait until it dies down. Now he, in his mind, he didn't do anything wrong, so now he doesn't even know what you're talking about.
Mhm.
So if you disclose that right then, right when you have the problem, I think it will be easier to solve. It'll be a lot less trying to explain to him what he did wrong. Because I told you in that moment what you did wrong. You literally just said it. So I know you remember that you said it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think just try to do that moving forward. And we'll revisit it. We'll revisit it at our next session. We'll see how things have changed at the moment.
Mhm.
We're feeling something.
Okay. That sounds good.
Okay. Well, would you like to go ahead and get your next session scheduled, or do you need a little bit of time so you can figure out your schedule?
I think I can schedule it on my own once I get my schedule.
Okay, that works well. As always, if you need something, need support, just need to talk, you can always reach out to me. I'm always available by phone and by text for the most part. And if I can't respond in that moment right then, I will always get back to you. Just let me know when you're ready to schedule.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Thank you.